It is time to enter the park of dinosaurs.
Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucimus Prime here, and welcome to a brand new movie review today. In today's video, guys, I'm going to be reviewing this time another example of a sci-fi action movie in terms of reviews, and this is for one of my favourite movies of all time, and also one of my all-time favourite movies by the legendary director Steven Spielberg, which of course is none other than 1993's Jurassic Park. So, yeah, this is, of course, based on the book of the same name by Michael Crichton from 1990. And, yeah, and I'm going to be reviewing it. So how was this movie made, guys? Filming of this movie adaptation of the book took place in California and Hawaii from August to November 1992. And post-production lasted until May 1993, supervised by Spielberg in Poland as he filmed Schindler's List. And the dinosaurs were, of course, created with groundbreaking computer-generated imagery by Industrial Light and Magic, and with life-size animatronic dinosaurs built by Stan Winston's team. May Stan rest in peace. The film premiered on June 9th, 1993 at the Uptown Theatre in Washington, D.C., and was released on June 11th in the United States. It went on to gross over $914 million worldwide in its original theatrical run, becoming the highest grossing film ever at the time, and surpassing Spielberg's own movie E.T. the Extraterrestrial, which was a record held until the release of a very overrated film in my opinion, which is Titanic, in 1997. The film received positive reviews from critics who praised its special effects and Spielberg's direction. Following the 20th anniversary re-release in 2013, Jurassic Park became the oldest film in history to surpass $1 billion in ticket sales and the 17th overall. The film won over 20 awards, including 3 Academy Awards for its technical achievements in visual effects and sound design, in my opinion, very truly deserved. And in 2018, it was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. Now, when it comes to my reaction to this film, guys, so I, of course, I've seen this film quite a lot of times in my life, and many times when I was a kid, and rewatching it on things such as Netflix, for example, and of course, rewatching it on Blu-ray, because I watched it last night on Blu-ray, has made me absolutely love this movie. I think it's an absolute masterpiece, and is one of the greatest films ever made, and one of Spielberg's masterpieces, in my opinion. This, to me, is a timeless masterpiece which never has and never will get old, as far as I'm concerned. So what's great about this movie is it has a really great cast of actors, first of all. So I of course, definitely love the casting of Sam Neill as Dr. Alan Grant. He's definitely, in my opinion, a great protagonist in this film, and he's my favourite wall of Sam Neill. And I also, as well, of course, love Laura Dern as Dr. Ellie Sattler as well. She's probably my favourite female character in my franchise, and he's my favourite wall of Laura. Definitely a way better role for us compared to her abominable role of Admiral Holdo in Disney Wars: The Lazy Jedi, I'll definitely say that. When it comes to my favourite character in the franchise, though, my favourite character in the whole franchise is none other than Ian Malcolm, who, of course, is played by Jeff Goldblum. He's my favourite role of Jeff Goldblum, great actor. This is, in my opinion, his best role, because Ian Malcolm is a very likeable character, and definitely a character that I can relate to as well on the movie, because he's definitely the kind of person that I would be if I was on Jurassic Park, right? Yeah, great character. I also, as well, of course, love the addition of Richard Attenborough, may he rest in peace, as Dr. John Hammond, who, of course, is the owner of Jurassic Park. He's my favourite role of Richard Attenborough, and he played his part amazingly in this movie. And there's other great supporting cast members as well in this. For example, Bob Peck as Robert Muldoon, Martin Ferrero as Donald Gennaro, and also B.D. Wong as Dr. Henry Wu. I only like B.D. Wong as Dr. Wu in this film, guys. I didn't really like what we did to him in the next ones he returned for, but I liked him a lot in his scenes in this movie. I, of course, also like the addition of Hammond's grandchildren being Tim and Lex, who, of course, are played by Joseph Mazzella and Ariana Richards. I, of course, also liked, in terms of his supporting cast, the legendary Samuel L. Jackson as Ray Arnold. He was definitely, as well, a great part. Especially, of course, for one of his most iconic lines in the franchise, which, of course, is, "Hold on to your butts." Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson's a legend. I also as well liked Wayne Knight as Dennis Nedry. He's my favourite role of Wayne Knight. I think Wayne Knight is an underrated actor, and this is probably, in my opinion, his best performance. And he does a great job playing Dennis, in my opinion, yeah. And there's other good characters in this film as well, aside those, and also as well, what's also great about this film, aside from the cast, is I mentioned earlier the visual effects, guys. So I'm gonna say right off the bat, but in my opinion, the effects for this movie are absolutely incredible and just revolutionary for its time. Like, it really amazes me how well this movie is aged, because yeah, Industrial Light and Magic is my favorite visual effects company of all time, and they of course did the effects for the dinosaurs in this movie alongside animatronics by Stan Winston, and I've got to say, the visual effects are just absolutely incredible for its time. Really incredible. Like, this film has never got old at all, in my opinion, at all. Like, it's just absolutely fantastic how well the effects have aged. Like, goodness me. Like, just absolutely spectacular. Like, if you were to re-release this movie, like, say, in this year, because this year is 2023, which is 30 years on from the first movie's release, this movie hasn't got old at all. It's really aged beautifully, in my opinion. Just beautifully. Like, it's absolutely incredible how well it's aged. So, I've got to give high praise to the visual effects department for this movie. And speaking of that as well, I think the CGI in general, aside from the dinosaurs, is also as well great as well. There is actually an example of CGI that I did not know was CGI until I found out later on. So, because at the end of the movie, in the climax, of course, there's a scene where the characters are climbing up to events, of course, and in the scene where Lex is climbing up and she nearly gets pulled down, we get like a brief shot of her face as she's screaming. But the thing is, well, guys, that was actually Ariana Richards' stunt double who was doing the stunts with Ariana Richards' face CGI'd on. I had no idea that was CGI until all those years later when I looked it up. Like, I couldn't believe it. My mind was blown. Like, that's just absolutely fantastic for its time. Just incredible. Like, yeah, this movie has just aged absolutely fantastically. Really has. That's why it's one of my favourite films of all time. And I will also say as well, this is also easily my favourite dinosaur movie of all time as well. Easily. Just an absolutely incredible movie. And probably my third favourite movie of all time by Steven Spielberg overall, after Raiders of the Lost Ark and E.T., actually, as well. Just absolutely incredible. And it's also one of those films in which, in my opinion, there's no problem with it. I don't have any problems with this movie because I love every second of this movie. Just a beautiful movie, in my opinion. And also as well, other great things about this movie. Now, one other honourable mention I've got to say for this movie, and this could be also in regards to pretty much all of Spielberg's films in general, which is definitely, of course, the music, which is, of course, composed by the legendary one and only John Williams. And his music for this film was absolutely fantastic as always, and he delivered many iconic tracks in this movie. Just beautiful music. Like, I love the Journey to the Island music, for example, and the rest of it is just absolutely great to listen to. Like, his music is just absolutely incredible, and yeah, like, and I think it's his music that helps make this movie very iconic, because I will say that, you know, if he didn't do the music for Spielberg's movies, then in my opinion, they wouldn't be as iconic as they are without his music, because his music is just absolutely beautiful, and this movie is definitely no exception, because the music is just absolutely glorious to listen to, really is. And also, of course, in the sequel, because he returned to compose music for the sequel, the first one. And as well as the cast as well, and the visual effects and the music. But another great thing as well is also the music as well. The music is definitely really great, and I like how they made this movie a bit more family friendly than the book, which it is based on, because the book is actually pretty dark, guys, as I've noticed when I've been looking up about it. So I like how we toned it down a bit to be more family friendly, because it means that anyone can watch it no matter how old they are. Because, like, you can watch this movie, you know, young, or like my age of 23 or way older, and you'd still love it, because it's just an incredible film for all ages, and I love that. And one example of why the movie is dark is also probably Dennis Nedry's death scene. Now, Now, in the film, though, nonetheless, but despite, of course, being torn down compared to the book version, I do think, though, that his death scene is probably one of the more scariest death scenes I've ever seen in cinematic history. Oh, well, the thing is, well, he does deserve to die, because he's one responsible, of course, for the power going off, because he's, of course, stealing one of those, you know, like, he's of course, stealing, of course, for that character called Lewis Dodgson. So, yeah, he's been tasked to steal the fertilized dinosaur embryos. So, it's his fault, of course, that always happens. He calls it a sabotage, and then as well as that, so his death scene was definitely well deserved, in my opinion, because of what he did, and the way he dies is also definitely, you know, is definitely brutal as well. And it happens off screen, though, so it's not too graphic. But in the book, however, it is very graphic because he gets decapitated. So, yeah, goodness me. That's definitely very graphic indeed. So, yeah. Definitely a graphic way to go out. And another example of a death scene which I think is also pretty brutal is also a death of Ray Arnold. But that also happens off screen, but for understandable reason. Because when they were, of course, filming the movie, Samuel L. Jackson was supposed to fly to Hawaii to film Arnold's death scene, but a hurricane destroyed the set, and the scene had to be scrapped completely. So, unfortunately, he wasn't able to return to film Arnold's death scene, so he was killed off screen. And, of course, when Ellie Sattler goes into the building he was in to power of the island, of course, she discovers she discovers one of his arms. So, yeah, he's unfortunately been eaten. So, yeah, poor Arnold. And also, as well, the film does have iconic quotes, so I've already, of course, said Arnold's characters, which is, hold on to your butts. And I also, as well, definitely, as well, love of John Hammond's line, of course, when of course, Dr. Grant and start, let's see the dinosaurs. I think that scene is probably one of the most beautiful scenes in cinematic history right there, where we see the dinosaurs for the first time. Like, I can already imagine that people watching it in the cinema would have had their minds totally blown by that scene. Like, goodness me. And I definitely love Hammond's line where he says, of course, Dr. Grant, my dear Dr. Sadler, welcome to Jurassic Park. I just love that line so much. Probably my favourite line in the entire movie, in my opinion. Just a beautiful line right there. So, yeah. This movie is just absolutely incredible, guys. Just faultless. It's an absolute masterpiece, which is definitely worth watching if you like dinosaurs. And by watching this is my favourite dinosaur movie of all time. And all my rewatches have made me love a movie a lot more and more as I rewatch it. It's never got old, in my opinion, at all. I've never noticed any problems. I still love a movie to this day. Just an absolutely incredible movie. And yeah, just absolutely wonderful. And that's why, of course, I got this movie on Steelbook like I have for the rest of the movies, of course. So, yeah. And just absolutely incredible movie, which is just absolutely beautiful. Just really amazing, yeah. An adventure 65 million years in the making. So, yeah, this movie is just absolutely incredible. Great cast, great visual effects, great music, and also great quotes, too, as well. And it even has a fair share of funny moments as well. So, one thing that I don't think is very funny, guys, of course, is probably, of course, when Dodgson meets Nedry, of course, at that, you know, outdoor cafe place, and Dodgson is like telling Nedry, you know, you shouldn't say my name out here. But then, of course, Nedry then jokes saying, Dodgson, we got Dodgson here. And then but no one listens. So he says to Dodgson, nobody cares. And then praises his hat, asking if he's like a secret agent or something. Yeah, Wayne Knight's awesome. So yeah, and this movie, nonetheless, is just absolutely amazing. And easily, in my opinion, the best dinosaur movie I've ever seen. And it's, of course, spawned a franchise as well, guys, due to its success. So, the first one it got, of course, was The Lost World Jurassic Park, which is my second favourite in the franchise, always has been and always will be. Unfortunately, it did also result in a third film called Jurassic Park 3, which I thought was garbage. And then, of course, it also spawned a new trilogy, which, of course, is the Jurassic World trilogy, consisting of Jurassic World, then Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and then, of course, last year, Jurassic World Dominion. So, yeah, it spawned a pretty big franchise, and it's also spawned a Lego game as well, which I will definitely play one day for sure, absolutely. And it also as well spawned other games too. I think it also spawned recent games called Jurassic World Evolution, so I might probably play those one day if I feel like it. Wouldn't say no to that. That sounds pretty fun. So yeah. So there you have it, guys. I absolutely love Jurassic Park to this day. It's an absolute masterpiece, one of Spielberg's greatest movies ever made, in my opinion. Just absolutely a glorious movie, in my opinion. So, if I was to give this movie a score out of 10, well, I remember giving it the same score I'm going to give it now on my ranking video that I did back in 2020. And if I was to rate Jurassic Park from 1993 out of 10, I would give it a full-blown 10 out of 10. Because in my opinion, it's an absolute masterpiece, one of the greatest films of all time, and in my opinion, the best dinosaur movie of all time. And this film can't be topped in the franchise, in my opinion, at all, because it's just absolutely incredible. Just an amazing movie from start to finish, and I love this movie. Whenever I watch it, guys, I always love every second of it. Just an incredible movie, in my opinion. Yeah. Definitely something which is definitely a must watch if you've not seen it yet. I'd recommend it strongly if you've not seen it. Just an amazing movie. So yeah. So guys, this is me doing my review for Jurassic Park from 1993. One of the greatest films of all time, in my opinion, and just absolutely incredible. And so yeah, stay tuned for my reviews for the sequels as well, coming soon as well. So yeah. So you know drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to let us know in the comments what you guys think of Jurassic Park. If you've seen it, let all you think in the comments below. Also, be sure to join Team Bam by pressing subscribe and videos coming in the future. If you would like to be a member, you can press on using a piece of lads or you can go description. And life finds a way.